Welcome to another episode of Erik Wait Whiskey Studies, and in this video, going to do a review of the Bunnahabhain Moine Pedro Ximenez cask from 2004. This is a bottle that I picked up during my last trip to Islay in July 2023. But before I get into this whiskey, I'm going to tell you about the profile of Bunnahabhain Distillery and about this whiskey. Bunnahabhain Distillery is located on the north end of the Isle of Islay, near Port Ascaig. The name Bunnahabhain is an Anglicization of a Gaelic term which means mouth of the river. Bunnahabhain Distillery was founded in 1881 by William Robertson of Robinson and Baxter, along with brothers William and James Greenless, owners of Islay Distillers Company Limited. The current owner since 2003 is Burn Stewart Distillers, a subsidiary of Distill. The process water for Bunnahabhain Distillery comes from Margadale River, while the cooling water comes from Loch Toiteach. Bunnahabhain uses a rake and plow mash tun. They have 6 wood washbacks at 70,000 liters, 4 stills, that is 2 wash stills at 30,000 liters, and 2 spirit stills at 15,000 liters. And they use shell and tube condensers. Distillation strength is at 69% alcohol by volume, and cask fill strength is at 63.5% alcohol by volume. The Bunnahabhain core range. The Bunnahabhain 12-year-old Islay single malt Scotch whisky, double matured in ex-bourbon cask and ex-sherry cask, is non-chill filtered, has natural color, and is bottled at 46.3% alcohol by volume. The Bunnahabhain 18-year-old Islay single malt Scotch whisky, matured in ex-sherry cask, is non-chill filtered, has natural color, and is bottled at 46.3% alcohol by volume. The Bunnahabhain Stewardar Islay single malt Scotch whisky. Stewardar means helmsman in Scots Gaelic. It's aged in a first and second fill sherry cask. It's non-chill filtered, has natural color, and is bottled at 46.3% alcohol by volume. Bunnahabhain Toiteach Islay single malt Scotch whisky. Toiteach means smoky too. The whiskey is lightly peated, aged in ex-bourbon and ex-sherry cask, but with a higher sherry influence. It's non-chill filtered, has natural color, and is bottled at 46.3% alcohol by volume. Bunnahabhain also has limited releases such as the Bunnahabhain 2004 Moine Pedro Ximenez Islay single malt Scotch whisky. This whiskey is peated, aged 17 years in refill hogshead and 5 years in Pedro Ximenez cask. Bottled at 51.8% alcohol by volume, and I bought it for $172 for a 70 CL bottle. So I know a lot of people watch videos so that they can look for recommendations for something to buy. Consequently, if you review a whiskey that is a challenge to come by, maybe a distillery exclusive, they get a little bit upset and soil themselves, making really nasty comments down below. If that's your proclivity, I would say bugger off and go watch some other video on my channel of a whiskey that's more readily available. What you should also be looking for is not just something you can necessarily buy at your local liquor store, but an inspiration to travel to Scotland and go to Bunnahabhain Distillery, because there is so much out there. If you're not living in Scotland or in the UK, there are so many reasons to travel to Scotland. The beauty of the countryside, friendliness of the people, the castles, the locks, the standing stones, the picked stones, and of course, the whiskey. Your whiskey education will be greatly enhanced by visiting a distillery, not only in terms of what they say during a tour, but just getting a sense of the place and the people. And I gotta say, Bunnahabhain is probably my favorite on Islay, although I'm still a big fan of Ardbeg. Now, Pedro Ximenez is made from a grape called Pedro Ximenez. All the other types of sherry, Fino, Amontillado, Palo Cantado, Oloroso, are all made from the Palomino grape grown on Albariza soils. That's a white chalky soil in the Jerez region. Pedro Ximenez comes from east of sherry, but they're allowed to bring it into the region and put it into other whiskeys. You can have a sweet or oloroso, and they can call it Jerez or sherry, even though it's not actually from the region. The grapes are desiccated, that is, they are dried out on mats, which intensifies the sugars. So whereas, say, from oloroso, you get dried figs and dates, you start heading more into the prune character from Pedro Ximenez. One of the things about Pedro Ximenez is it's sort of a thicker, sticky wine, almost like a syrup. And so I don't know too many people who just sit around drinking Pedro Ximenez. The other thing is, when you put a whiskey in a Pedro Ximenez cask, there's something about the cask that, while the spirit will draw out Pedro Ximenez from the cask will also want to hold on to that spirit, and it can sort of reduce the impact of the peat if the whiskey is, or the spirit is peated. Consequently, Pedro Ximenez cask finished whiskeys also need a little bit of time to breathe. So if you're getting, whether it's a Bunnahabhain or any other cask, I recently reviewed a Lagavulin Distillers Edition, which is also aged in Pedro Ximenez cask. You need to let some time to breathe, and a little drop of water is definitely going to help open it up, particularly on the finish. Now, one of the things about Pedro Ximenez and being a sweet, sticky wine is it can sometimes be sort of sweet upon sweet upon sweet. What you want to sort of counterbalance the sweetness is a little bit of spice. I personally prefer maybe an Oloroso sherry cask and then finished in Pedro Ximenez, so you have a counterbalance of sweetness and spice. That'll bring balance. The Lagavulin Distillers Edition, finished in Pedro Ximenez cask, I liked it, but I thought it was more sweet upon sweet, and it wasn't all that intense. This, on the other hand, has a marvelous spiciness to counteract that intense sweetness. Now, on the nose, it does have dried black fruit notes, very dark chocolate, so fig, dates, raisins. It does have that typical prune character, but the spice, just on the nose, is really coming through. Probably some cinnamon, a little bit of pepper, various baking spices. There is a very intensely dark chocolate character, a little bit of nuttiness and some saltiness as well. Kind of reminded me of a salted dark chocolate. Maybe some caramel on the palate. Sweet on entry, dries a little bit on the back end, slightly tannic with a little bit of astringency. Start off the dark, dried black fruit notes, fig, dates, raisins. It then shifts into the plums, that distinctive character of Pedro Ximenez. The dark chocolate shows up about 3/4 of the way back and finishes with a real nice saltiness and a really, really nice spice. If it didn't have that spice, it would be a little bit of a one chord song. It really wouldn't have the complexity I want to look for in a whiskey. This is absolutely superb. I have had other Pedro Ximenez cask whiskeys. In fact, I brought back a Kalila Fish Ale Edition that was aged in PX cask. It's spectacular. One of these days I'll get around to talking about it. It's also absolutely spectacular. But I want to say, sometimes you can get these casks online, get these bottles online at auctions or secondhand sellers. In fact, this is a Bunnahabhain Fish Ale 2021. I did not attend Fish Ale, and because of COVID, I wasn't on the island during the couple of COVID years. And this is a Moine. Moine means peated or smoky Bordeaux cask finish. I bought this online. I probably paid, I think, maybe $150 or something around like that. You know, a really fair price considering what you're getting. And this is a bottle at 59.5% alcohol by volume. So the whiskeys are out there. Just use this thing. You may have heard of it. It's called Google. Check it out. People ask me, where can I find this? Where can I find that? Da, da, da. Google it. Trust me. Or try the wine searcher search engine. Sometimes you can find it, and you can help find whiskeys in your area, or perhaps you can have it shipped to your home. So, again, another reason to go to Islay. The Fish Ale, the Festival of Ireland, is in May every year, but the distilleries that release Fish Ale editions will continue to have them into June and July. I've never been to Fish Ale, but I've been to Scotland, been to Islay in June 2018 and July 2023, and they still have the Fish Ale edition. So another reason to go to Islay. So back to the Moine Pedro Ximenez cask. This is an absolutely superb whiskey. It has a really long finish. It is really rich on the palate. It's sweet, it's nutty, it's salty, it's smoky, it's chocolatey, and just really, really, really rich. For me, this is more of a dessert whiskey, something you would like to have after dinner, and undoubtedly it would go really, really well with some fudge or chocolate. I'm trying to cut back on eating those kind of things, so I don't have any on hand, but or a chocolate chip cookie would probably go really, really well, or just on its own. I am still tasting it now. It has a real nice long finish. What would I give it in terms of a score? I'm going to go 94 points. 94 points. Undoubtedly, it's going to be among my top 10 for 2023. All right, that's it for this review. If you subscribe to this channel, I thank you very much. If you've not yet subscribed, but you like watching my videos, would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. Ring the bell to be notified for when I go live or post a new video. Until next time, Slanja. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and check out these other whiskey videos.